Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, brought to you by BetDSI, the internet's #1 sportsbook. Today, I got a six-pack of rumors that I can't wait to crack open for y'all. And the first one that I'm about to get into is around the Raiders' new stadium. And is it ready? It's 44% complete. Guess what here? This one's for Chucky heads. Believe it, baby. 44, we're throwing up 4 Chucky heads. We're having a good time here at the Raiders Report. Now, when I first saw this, I was like, this is awfully specific, if you ask me. Now, nearly half the money is already spent in construction work. Now, nearly half of $1.8 billion at the 65,000-seat Vegas Stadium. Now, Don Webb, Chief Operating Officer of the Las Vegas Stadium, said that construction work is 44% complete. 11 of the 26 trusses are up. Canopy trusses. I actually had to Google that. I'm sorry. But 11 of the 26 are up, and once the roof is assembled, I think then we're going to start getting a little bit closer here. Also, do you guys like my new shirt? Chucky head? Yeah, Chucky head back here. Oh, wrong way. Screw me, right? All right, would you take me to a game in 2020? Because I'm hoping the stadium is up and running. So, if you would take me as a guest, I would definitely appreciate it. Type 4 for Believe It, baby. Or type 0 for Tuck Rule. Tuck that. I better see a lot of 4s in the comment section. All right, a little bit more talk here around the Vegas Stadium, because you guys know that I'm not very good at math, but the Vegas Stadium is not going to be ready in 2020. I'm going to give this one 2 Chucky heads, and people are talking, and the reason why I'm talking about it is because it's 44% complete. Now, I'll say it again, and you guys know if you're a loyal watcher at youtube.com/Raiders Report that I'm not good with math. But if the 2020 regular season, if that starts in 15 months, okay? So you're telling me 44% done in 19 months, and then we have to get 56% of it done in 15 months. Hashtag math. Like, to me, maybe we're going to get a few more people working on the project, but I actually had one of my good friends here in Dallas. He said, hey, man, I got a bunch of friends back in Vegas, and none of my friends think that the stadium's going to be built in time. And I was kind of like, I'll be positive about it. But now I see this report, and again, math. I'll say this. I'm a little bit worried, and it's exactly why I want to know from you guys, okay? So, on a scale of 1 to 10, this is how I want you to think about it. On a scale of 1 to 10, how worried are you that the Vegas Stadium is not going to be ready? I'll say it one more time. How worried are you that the Vegas Stadium won't be ready? Scale of 1 to 10. So, like, 1 is we're just tommed, all right? We are absolutely tommed. If you don't know what tom means, you should watch the show more often. 10, we're playing in Vegas. It's all good. So, 1, we're tom. 10, we're playing in Vegas. How worried are you that the stadium is not going to be ready? The third rumor, y'all ready for this? All right, Carr's ceiling is 25 touchdowns. So Derek Carr's ceiling means it's the most touchdowns he could possibly throw in 2019 is 25 touchdowns. This one's Joe Chucky head. Say it with me. Tuck Rule, tuck that. I saw an article by SB Nation, and they use statistical precedence. And basically what they do is they take Derek Carr's 2018 numbers, and then they project his low, his middle, and then his high. So basically what Derek Carr could potentially do in 2019. What they spit out is they said that his ceiling, his absolute high was 25 touchdowns in 2019. Now, before I get into showing you what they projected, let's take a look at Derek Carr's stats the last 4 years. So he threw for a career high 4,049 yards, sure, 19 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. And I always say we're going to go back because we want that 2016, 2015 year. But if he already threw 28, and if he already threw 32 touchdowns, how can you say that his ceiling is 25? So this is what SB Nation predicted. Okay, they took his completion percentage, they took his yards, and then they took his touchdowns. So they said his lowest that he could possibly do is throw for basically a career high in yards and 18 touchdowns. The middle projection, 22 touchdowns, 4,324 yards. And his ceiling, 4,497 yards, which, hey, 4,497 yards, I'm all for it. But to say that his ceiling is 25 touchdowns when he's had 2 years that were better than 25 touchdowns, mind-blowing to me. Absolutely mind-blowing to me. So I'm going to ask you, because apparently this statistical precedence that they did at SB Nation, I don't really think is right. How many touchdowns will Derek Carr have in 2019? All right? I want you to comment below. 27, 25, Hopefully a little bit more than that. Will he have a career high over 32? Heck, I put a poll out before on the Raiders channel, over under 35, and I was astounded on how many people think that he's going to throw for over 35. How many touchdowns is Derek Carr going to have in 2019? If you think that he's going to throw for 40 touchdowns, maybe you should put your money at BetDSI that the Raiders are going to win the Super Bowl. Do it right now, chatsports.com/bet, the internet's #1 sportsbook. And if you go there, use my freaking promo code Raiders120 for 120% deposit bonus. If you put down $50, you're going to get 60 for free. You put down $100, get 120 for free. Put down $500, be a big baller like our producer Harrison. Go give him a follow at Harrison1103. I think that's right, not quite sure. BetDSI, internet's #1 sportsbook. All right, next rumor. Great offseason for the Raiders. This one's for Chucky Heads. Believe it, baby, and it's Harrison1033. So go give Harrison a follow. So great offseason for the Raiders. Like I said, for Chucky Heads. This one's coming out from Gil Brandt. Now, I like Gil Brandt. He's a good dude. Puts out some solid content. Now, he lists the best offseasons of all the NFL teams, okay? And he comes out saying that the Raiders had a really solid draft, and they added a lot of talent in free agency. Now, he goes on to say, like the draft, they really concentrated on defense, and then obviously the free agency, they went out and got guys like Trent Brown. You went out and got a guy like Antonio Brown, Tyrell Williams. So you're building around Derek Carr. He ranked him #2, though, behind the Cleveland Browns. Now, I'm going to give you the top 5 teams that Gil Brandt said had the best offseason in the NFL. And I'll let you guys judge it. So he had #1, the Cleveland Browns. #2 is the Oakland Raiders. #3 is the Buffalo Bills. #4 is the Detroit Lions. And #5 is the Philadelphia Eagles. One of the reasons why he said that the Browns were the separator over the Raiders is because they were able to go out and get Odell Beckham Jr. So Browns, Raiders, they're the top 2 teams on this list. So you know what I'm going to ask you? Who's going to have more wins in 2019? Will the Cleveland Browns or the Oakland Raiders have more wins in 2019? I know this is what this show is called. Believe me, I run it. So type B for Browns or type R for Raiders, all right? I want you to even do this. Be an overachiever. Tell me how many wins the Browns are going to have, and tell me how many wins the Raiders are going to have. All right? It's a tough question. I will say this. I do project the Browns to win their division. I'm hoping the Raiders can win theirs too. All right, let's go to the 5th rumor here on the show. Josh Jacobs will have the biggest impact among all rookies for the Oakland Raiders. I'm going to give this one 3 Chucky Heads, and I think it's pretty likely. Now, NBC Sports, they break down in the article of going over all the rookies potentially for the Oakland Raiders and which one's going to have the biggest impact. They go on to say that Jacobs was one of 3 players drafted by the Raiders in round 1. Thank you, NBC Sports. Now, Jacobs is going to have, I think, the chance to have the biggest impact right away. The reason why he was drafted 24th overall by the Oakland Raiders is because John Gruden won a 3-down running back. Now, on last week's Raiders Report, I came out and said that I expect them to do a little bit of a running back by committee, just because that's what John Gruden has done in the past. Like, you look at the 12 years that John Gruden has been a head coach of the NFL, only 2 years as a running back ever had over 1,000 yards. So, I'm thinking about what could potentially happen. The other rookie that I think that you could say has the biggest impact is the guy that they drafted before Josh Jacobs. And believe me, I know what I gave the grading, and I know all that, so you guys are probably going to get mad at me for even putting this up here. So who's going to have the bigger rookie impact, right? The running back, Josh Jacobs, or defensive end, Clelin Ferrell out of Clemson. Got it right? All right, thanks, Alicia. Bigger impact here, Josh Jacobs or Clelin Ferrell. I want you to type J for Jacobs or type R for Ferrell. Raider Nation, make sure you subscribe to the #1 Raiders channel on YouTube, youtube.com/Raiders Report, because like I said, this is the #1 Raiders channel on YouTube. That one's for Chucky Heads. Believe it, baby. Now, why is this the #1 Raiders channel? It's because I can interact every single day at my job with Raider Nation. So I want to give you guys a shout out. So from Raider 97 Nation Jones, Mitchell Renz, your sunburns, multiple sunburns, are literally making you glow. 2 Chucky Heads people are talking. Now, here's the only thing. If I have multiple sunburns, that one's for Chucky Heads. Believe it, baby. Just saying. Raider 97 Nation Jones, thanks for the submission. The Adam 2282, loving the camera time. I appreciate the comment because I put you on our show last time. The only thing I don't appreciate is you don't have a picture. So the Adam2282, I hooked you up with a picture. How about we get you a nice little picture, my man? Can we get that for you? Is it going to change? Yeah, Harrison, give him a follow. No, the Adam2282, loving the camera time. Much appreciated you. Ryan Hushman, another Raider Nation shout-out coming here. And love the new background. I've heard a lot of good things about the background, and I wish I could take credit for it, but I can't. That's our producers behind the screen. And the last one is coming in here from Eddie, trying to lift. Now, Eddie, I will say this. I went to your YouTube. I saw you lifting. Dude does 315 6 times. That's insane. Eddie, trying to lift, keep doing your lifting thing. But you asked, what is the next beer challenge that I'm going to do? So, I'm going to ask you guys watching, what should be my next beer challenge? I've already done 84 beers in 6 minutes, and I did 6 beers in 6 minutes. So, what should be my next beer challenge? Comment below if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, anywhere that you see this video, because I am very, very curious on what I will have to do. All right, let's go to that last rumor here. Will the Oakland Raiders cut Dougie Fresh? I'm going to give this one Chucky head, and I think there's a small shred of truth. Now, today I came into work, and I was going to throw together a nice little cut segment here, and then I was looking around, and I saw somebody put that the Raiders are going to cut Doug Martin. Now, I like what the Raider Wire does a lot of times, but I wasn't too crazy about this one. So, the fact that they said that Doug Martin is going to get cut, I don't really necessarily agree with that. Now, I get that they went out and got him after the Crowell's injury. But literally 2 weeks ago, John Gruden came out and said that Martin is going to mentor Jacobs. I think Doug Martin might not have the biggest impact on the field this year, but he's going to mentor Josh Jacobs. Like, let's not forget, Doug Martin was actually a very good running back at a time. Like, his rookie year, he rushed for 1,400 yards. So maybe we get a guy who dominated his rookie year to then mentor the running back we want to dominate this year. Also, Doug Martin was actually pretty good for the Raiders last year. I mean, he led the team in carries, 172. The only other running back even close to him was Marshawn Lynch. Now, sure, Lynch got hurt, and Jalen Richard is a pass catcher. But when you have a running back who leads your team in carries, plus he led the team in yards. And again, it really wasn't all that close. Now, I know I've come on the show before and I've kind of ripped Doug Martin, but 723 rushing yards. He averaged 4.2 yards per carry last year. He was pretty productive. And if you're going to tell me right now that he's the running back you would cut, and you didn't list this guy's name, I'm a little bit surprised. So which running back should the Raiders cut? Type W for DeAndre Washington or type M for Doug Martin. Like, I'm typing my W for DeAndre Washington. I don't need to see DeAndre Washington play in silver and black anymore. I've seen it enough. And you guys know how much, I shouldn't say I dislike Doug Martin, but I'm not the biggest Doug Martin believer. And I would rather keep Doug Martin than DeAndre Washington. So which running back should the Raiders cut? Because you guys know, the show's not about me. I want to hear from everybody. W for Washington or M for Martin. Raider Nation, make sure you guys subscribe to the Raiders Report on YouTube at youtube.com/Raiders Report. It's the #1 Raiders channel on YouTube. That one's for Chucky heads. Believe it, baby. Raider Nation, what's going on? Is this the #1 Raiders channel on YouTube for Chucky heads? Believe it, baby. And if you haven't already, subscribe right here. I'm giving you Chucky heads, news, rumors, Raider Nation rumors. And look at this. I'm making your life easier. Check out my next video. Thanks for watching, and go Raiders.